I'm here to tell you that Bear did nothing wrong, and this is definitely a tragic, codependent love story. Welcome to Vega's World. I am JC Vega, and I have been obsessed with Obsession ever since I saw it opening weekend. Now, I need to preface this. I am not a horror fan by any stretch of the imagination. I can deal with horror adjacent, like From Dusk Till Dawn, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, things like that. But straight up horror films, that's a no-go. I'd rather watch a romance than a horror movie. It's just not my thing. However, Obsession stuck with me long after the credits, long after I got home, days after the fact. I couldn't stop thinking about it, analyzing every detail, talking to friends about it who had seen it. I mean, I had to go see it 2 more times just to see if I missed anything or pick up on some of the nuances in the things that I already noticed. It's in my top 5 of 2026. I mean, maybe top 3 if I'm going to be really, really generous right now, because if the rate is going, it's just so good. And I had told all my friends, even my friend, my tag team partner, Kayden Greene. And this is his response after a couple of days of talking about it.
Dude, Vega, are you trying to make Obsession your whole personality? You're not even a horror guy, dude. I'm the horror guy. Half Dead Podcast every Friday on Spotify.
Go listen to the Vega's World podcast, releasing every Friday, 10:30 local time, available on all podcast platforms. Let's put the wish aside for a second. This relationship is codependent and toxic as all hell. And to differentiate, we'll call her Wish Nikki. Wish Nikki will do anything to get Bear to stick around and love her like she wants. She tells him that her father is dying of cancer, that she can't go in her house, that she needs to be somewhere else. She goes to his house. She wants to go outside when he says, I'm going to the bathroom. Let's look at Bear trying to go to Ian's party and how he's going to break it to Wish Nikki. He practices it. He tries to be assertive. And then when it's time to tell her, he's really awkward and shy about it because he doesn't know how she's going to react. And at first, she's like, oh, you're going to the party? I'll get dressed. And he's like, well, it's a boys' night. And she's like, well, Sarah said she was going. And he was like, I don't think so. And she's like, nah, I'm pretty sure. No, that's not cool. I'm going to tell you it's cool, but it ain't cool. I'm really passive aggressive about it and angry, and I'm just going to guilt trip you. And I've seen that happen time and time again when somebody's going to go out and do something with their friends and their partner is like, yeah, it doesn't fly with me. You need to either bring me along or you need to stay around in the vicinity of me, whether it be in person or text or phone call. Your attention is focused on me. And that was a rough and funny scene, especially when she screams out in frustration and all that. And then he finally has to acquiesce. And that's another thing too. Like, you just get beaten down and you're trying to like maneuver around that person because you don't know how they're going to react to certain things. And you don't want there to be a big fight and you don't want them to be upset. And like, they get whiny and stuff when things don't go their way. Like, for example, the restaurant scene. She's like, why are you bringing up my dad and whether he has cancer or not? We're having a nice date. Why are you doing that to us? Like, can we enjoy this? And he's like, yeah, well, no, we are enjoying this. And he's frantic and trying to, calm her down because she's making a scene in public. And he's like, no, things are all good. That's very manipulative. And again, I've seen that time and time again, and maybe experienced it a little myself once or twice. In a codependent relationship, you lose a bit of yourself, and that's what happens after Bear makes his wish. Nikki, before it, was confident, a free spirit. She gives money to the homeless. She talks to them. She engages with them, and she needs to feel what she's writing if she wants to bring it to life. And after the wish happens, well, Wish Nikki is childlike. She's trying to figure things out, and she's trying to any way to get Bear's attention. And it's almost like she mimics Bear in a lot of ways. She becomes him in order to get that love that she desperately needs. And she even tells him at one point, I don't feel like you love me as much as I do, and I don't like my dreams. They scare me. But sometimes the real Nikki, the true character of Nikki, fights its way to the surface. In the beginning of the film, for example, when Bear has made his wish and she's talking with him, trying to convince him to hang out, the real Nikki pops up and bewildered by the fact that she's outside. And then later on, when they're at Bear's house, they're making out, she pops back out for a second. And even in the end of the film, when Sarah has been hurt, Ian's been shot, and it looks like Bear is going to be harmed or harm herself, the real Nikki pops up, trying and begging for the wish Nikki to stop what she's doing. That friend group, also toxic. It kind of feels like because they've known each other for so long, from like middle school and work together, that they're just friends out of the convenience and the habit of seeing each other all the time. They don't communicate at all. And if they do share their true feelings, it's because someone's been slighted. Ian only tells Bear that Nikki likes him like a brother after they've been dating for a little while, and he has his motives. Sarah mentions the fact that Ian and Nikki were hooking up for about 2 years, only casual though, after she's been slighted a couple of times, such as at the shop, at the party, when Wish Nikki pulls her back in order to get the kiss from Bear because he pulled the Jenga block that says kiss the person on your left. Ian is probably the worst best friend of all time. I mean, how cruel do you gotta be to bring your best friend, who you know is very shy, and have the waitress sit down across from him and pretend to be his unrequited love interest, and then tell him, oh man, that was horrible. That was really bad. That's too sappy. No, she's not gonna go for that. Matter of fact, you should neg her. Call him Freaky Nikki. And Bear points out, you know she doesn't like that. And he's like, it'll work. Come on. And maybe that might have worked in Ian's case because he's a lot more confident and playful, or he was sabotaging Bear from the start. And it's even worse that he never tells him that him and Nikki have been hooking up. A real friend, a real best friend, would be honest with him, be like, hey man, I know you've had feelings for this girl for a very long time, but we hooked up. I'm just letting you know that it happened, and I hope that we can still be friends, or that it doesn't affect our friendship in any way. I never meant to hurt you. But that's not Ian in this case. Now, remember when I said earlier that Bear is not the villain of this story? Well, at least not in the beginning. And when the movie starts, he's very sympathetic. He's shy. He's unassertive. He lacks confidence. He is closed off because he fears rejection in some form or another. But despite that, and despite his inability to share his love for Nikki, he shares other intimate details and feelings with her, and it's reciprocated because in the car ride home, she says that Bear is the only person she can share her feelings with. Indy Navarrete has said that she played it as if Nikki had feelings for Bear. And I like that interpretation, and I feel that rings a lot more true than simply, oh, she didn't really like him. She treated him like a brother. We heard that from other characters in the story, not Nikki herself. And there is a look after Bear says that I just think we're friends, that she looks off, and it seems like she's disappointed, and she's trying to hide it because she goes, good, after a few moments of silence, and then walks away. And I think that interpretation makes the story all the more tragic, because had Bear had just been honest with her, things might have turned out, or would have turned out, very differently than it did, and he wouldn't even had to use the One Wish Willow. But due to his inaction, he can't. The wish itself is cruel. I mean, you're stripping away a person's autonomy. Bear had no way of knowing that, however. When he made the wish, he said it in a moment of frustration and anger that he was incapable of telling the love of his life how he really felt. He does, however, become the villain the moment in the diner when he knows for sure that the wish worked, and he continues forward. He has sex with her, and that was so heartbreaking to hear her sounding like she was having fun, but in her eyes, it's not her, and that she's not enjoying that whatsoever. That was unsettling to see. And I was angry when he tries to alter the wish instead of trying to figure out how to free her, or accepting that he may have to lose his life in order for her to be free. And when she begs and pleads with him to kill her, he makes it about himself and saying, why is it so bad being with me? And then Nikki has to tell him that she wasn't ever there. And that shows Bear's greatest flaw, that he would rather the idea of Nikki being with him than the actual Nikki, or even giving that up, because once the wish is over, I'm sure Nikki would not want to be around him. And he can't have that. He can't allow that to happen. And when he hears her screams on the phone, he ignores it and tells Wish Nikki just to be Nikki. And there are fleeting moments where it seems like he's understanding the gravity of the situation, that he is wrong, because he breaks down and says it's not real. Like, he knows that this person here isn't the one that he became infatuated with, that he came to know and love and appreciate. And I guess maybe that's the crux of it all, that this was all just a big infatuation. And I loved the way they lit scenes with Nikki after the wish. You don't really fully see her face. You just see a little glint of the eyes, because that's not Nikki. It's Wish Nikki. And how messed up is it that Nikki gives away the tiger's eye that her mother gave her to Bear, and that it's for confidence and protection? That's how stripped away that Nikki is, that she gives something so personal of herself to Bear because she loves him more than anybody else in the world. And when he finally decides to do it, to end it all, he only does it because it had affected him. He had to watch Sarah die with a brick to the face because of Wish Nikki and her jealousy. And then Wish Nikki even tells him, you wanted this. Now, granted, I know when he made that wish in the beginning that he wasn't thinking, yeah, I want to see my friend's face get bashed in. But the wording of the wish and his refusal to grant Nikki her freedom caused all of this. He tries to backtrack. He tries to throw up the pills. That is how much of a coward Bear is in his life. And the only reason he can't throw it up is because the wish that Wish Nikki made takes hold. I've said it before, this is a fantastic movie, and I love the story behind the story, that Curry Barker was a sketch comedian on YouTube, and he made horror shorts, and he released a couple on his YouTube channel, and that he went and made this movie for $750,000, and it sat on a shelf for a little while, then went to TIFF, and then got bought by Blumhouse, and now it's made well over $100 million, well over its budget, and is gonna make Indy Navarrete a household name. Is gonna make Curry Barker a household name as well. Indy Navarrete's performance is tremendous. The way she contorts her face and uses different inflections and tones was just eerie. I mean, she's got like this Jim Carrey stretchy face. It just looked unsettling at times. Michael Johnson deserves his flowers too. While Indy Navarrete's performance is big and career-making, he does a damn good job portraying the shy, awkward, unconfident Bear. I mean, we're with him throughout the whole movie, and there's an expression he gives at the midpoint when he sees that the front door is taped shut. He gives this reaction that reminded me so much of Bruce Campbell, and like, if he were to play Ash in an Evil Dead reboot, that would be cool. That is all I got to say on this. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me at the JC Vega across all the social media platforms. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com and get yourself a Vegas World t-shirt. Support me and my wrestling. Good night and party on.